Hey guys, I think I'm here. Hey, I was watching the chat the other room on the other computer, and I forgot when I went live you can hear me. But anyway, watching you lot fight it out about CNC. Not sure. Not sure it's cheating. It's got its own challenges and own rewards. And hats off to anyone who can build an engine with CNC machine and get it to run, or do anything with a CNC machine and get it to run. Not as easy as it looks. And anyone with a CNC machine would probably be able to tell you that. Not my thing at all. So hi Tinker, hi Craig, hi Chirpy, hi Adam. Hey Machine NZ. Hey Curly. Gosh, you're a mixed lot tonight. Hey Cam. I was going to be polite and not say anything about getting the machine itself to run, Adam. I'm not that person. But yeah, hats off. It's a nice looking engine, and you got some nice finishes, and everything looks great. Machine NZ is. Go check it out if you haven't already. I'm guessing you've all had a look. It's quite a nice engine. And apparently there's going to be a boiler series to follow. Is that right? Just word on the street. My new favourite channel too. Yeah, Cam Battler. Awesome stuff. Does some really cool things. Go and check him out too. I've had the week off. Was a bit unplanned and short notice, but it's been really good and I needed it. What have I done? Finished a traction engine. That was the first thing. And I've spent the last 3 or 4 days messing around with this engraver. I did see that written down somewhere, Machine NZ. I did see that there was going to be a boiler series, but maybe I misconstrued that or got it wrong. Not sure what happened there. That slot is crazy. Is really nice, and every video you watch, you learn something. So that's awesome. Keep them coming, Cam. Pantograph's a bit of a job, actually. Yesterday I made these, which aren't exactly click spring or Stefan quality, but they're all right. They're brass, and they've got the bushes pressed fit and riveted over on the back and polished off. It's just a 1032 cap screw, which I shortened up and blued or blackened and pressed into a 3D printed knob. So kind of liking those. It is like a mini version of a Pantograph router or milling machine. It's not quite got the same capabilities because of horsepower and stuff. And there's things that a decal will do that this won't do. This won't copy things one-to-one, which is a bit of a problem with it. Maybe I can do something about fixing that, but at this point it doesn't have that ratio. There's still a few little jobs to do. These hold the letters in place, and if you remember, Ben from Melbourne sent a box of letters, 360 something letters. I've gone through them and this is one of the 4 sets, 3 sets anyway, 3 and a bit sets. I've gone through them and changed the angles to 45 degrees from 30 or 60 or whatever they were, which was a bit of a job. I've done that on the mill over the last 2 days. There's about 360 to machine both ends. And bought these boxes, which seemed pretty good for pantograph letters, from Banggood, which was a shot in the dark because you really don't know how big the compartments are or whether there's going to be enough or anything like that. But they fit in these dovetails, and these clamps lock them in. And then a stylus goes in here, which we're working on at the moment to get some of the shake and rattle out of that. Someone's modified it. Originally, this would have had a grub screw in it to hold it, but it's a bit difficult to set accurately. So someone's put a rod through with a thread on it and the nut on each end. It's just here somewhere. We'll have a look. And that's all right too, but it's pretty rattly. So what I'm going to do is make a couple of little cone nuts to go in each end. I've machined this with a cone on it. That was the last job. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can. If we come over the top here, turn you around. We've machined this with a cone so that we can make a cone nut for each end, and that'll keep it on centre hopefully and stop the whole rattly backlash thing, which I think that's going to cause. Cam sent this motor. Curly sent a motor too, which unfortunately wasn't as nice as this one. So thanks to both of you. That's awesome. This is the indicator holder, magnetic indicator holder. Tool miser, Andrew Padaka. So I had to set this up because the bracket that was on here was pretty rattly and loose and kind of crappy. So I've got to, let me change this around here so I don't know if you can see this. Hang on. It's kind of an awkward thing when the motor's full floating like that. I put this on a stud here. This piece here's got a, if we have a look, it's got a dovetail in the bottom to match that dovetail in there. And then this runs on here, and I put a nylock nut on there so I can get tension nice without it sort of over tightening. I've organised a bracket on the back here with a spring, and I'm going to put a rod through here with a grub screw in the end, and a bend in it to hook on that spring, and that'll give us the belt tension nicely, I hope. Hopefully that works. That's the only real major part of this to make. There's a dozen other little jobs. Certainly would, Tinker. Absolutely, send some pictures. I've still got to make a knob for the vise here on the back, because that was sort of missing, or the one that was on it was pretty crappy. I've got to make a thumb screw to lock this in place for the front. Couple of nicer washers for here and here, and we're starting to look like this is ready to make some cuts. So hopefully tomorrow night I'll be able to do some samples and maybe publish a video on its restoration. But it's starting to look like a pretty good machine. I'm really looking forward to getting it working. This motor is about 16,000, 15,600 or something on my tacho. So it's pretty quick, and that's geared 3 to 1. So this will be doing about 45 something thousand RPM, which is kind of where it needs to be. So it should be good. I've had it hooked up and running sort of temporarily, and it's seriously smooth and fairly quiet with a bit of tension on the belt. Everything looks really amazing. Hey, Malcolm. It's a new guy. Check out Malcolm of Lincoln. He's just appeared there on the chat screen. Check out his channel. If you're not subscribed, you should be. Yeah, excellent content. Lots of good fun. Does some pretty cool stuff. There you go. There's a plug. But yeah, you've got to go and see his. So that's the engraver, and it's starting to come together. It wants to be doing 45,000 RPM. Tinker, it's sort of where it wants to be. Ask Stefan what sort of revs an engraver needs to be doing, and he said a gazillion, which is kind of, it's as close a figure as I've been able to find anywhere. So we're getting close to the gazillion revs, but everything seems to stand it. The high-speed head and everything seems to run nice. So hopefully next week we might even have this cutting some letters. Anyway, I'm going to shift this off the bench. It's been here all day. There's been a lot of work in this. To trip over everything. This is the other thing that happened this week, and you've all sort of seen this. And it really is just a toy. It's good fun, but it's a toy steam engine. Yeah, infinite, Craig. That's where the speed needs to be. I messed around and made this canopy out of brass. I'm not sure I'm going to leave leave it, or made it out of copper. I'm not sure I'm going to leave it polished copper because it's never going to stay clean, and I've polished this twice already and it's all tarnished again. But it might get some wet and dry and a coat of white or something yet. It's a pretty fun little engine. We've got it free enough and nice enough and running enough so that when we move it, the engine runs backwards and forwards on the belt, which is where it really needs to be to run under its own stream. And as time goes on, that'll get closer and closer to where it needs to be. On flat surfaces it runs all right, and it'd probably run a lot better without this canopy and extra weight. But there you go. Hopefully the engraver will handle anything. That's where I'm at with it. I want something that'll engrave tool steel, and I want something that'll engrave stainless steel. We'll see about that. Not sure how it's going to stick over the top of metal polish. I'm really not sure about this yet. I'll probably leave the underside copper. I'm filthy dirty because I've been basically at the lathe all day and the mill. I've been working that mill pretty hard, so this water's still pretty hot. I had it here earlier. Car wax isn't a bad idea. Copper funnel's a really stupid idea because it gets too hot to hang on to. Anyone who's messing around making crap, it's full, it's primed everywhere. Messing around making a funnel for a steam engine, don't make it out of copper. There we go. I probably should do another video on making a funnel. Oh crap, another thing I forgot to do is take the burner out before we fill it up with water. So hopefully there's still some room in here for some spirits. Managed to make a mess everywhere. It's all part of the fun. There we go. We'll wait until it gets hot. Yeah, I did a video on the funnel about probably 2 years ago. There is an old funnel video. I'm going to do another one at some point. It was just an after work video when I needed a video, and it took me about 15-20 minutes to make the funnel. Yeah, metho or white spirit or denatured alcohol or whatever you want to call it, it's great because it doesn't. The burner in this is actually old or brand new, actually. It was cheap fire blanket, which I cut up with scissors and pulled apart and jammed in and soldered it together afterwards. Yeah, it's great, but don't use too much, Craig. A lot of people use metho, but it's kind of, you can't see it when it catches fire. This thing takes probably 10 minutes, something like that, to get up to speed or get steam up. The water was sort of lukewarm. Hot water to start with makes a big difference to it. The object of this wasn't really to make a gas burner or to make something that used bought-in products. So I've made this thing with a spirit burner, and it's really, that's a good idea for a fire blanket too. They're so cheap. Like $11 or something for a fire blanket. Not even sure it was that much. And I used seriously about that much out of one side of it. Just pulled the fibers apart and cut them up and poked them all in there, filled the tin up, and then soldered the lid on with a piece of mesh in the way. There's a video coming out. I think it's 2 videos time on building the burner. So keep an eye out for that. It's priming pretty well, so you've got a puddle everywhere. This is a dribbly little engine, and hopefully the next engine I build won't be quite as dribbly. Stay tuned for that. Can you hear that okay? That's starting to boil a bit there, starting to bubble. Hey Adam, yeah, right. Eh? No worries at all. So many other cool things that do the job now. Hey John. Hey, Stefan. Oh my gosh, Craig, that's all that self-control. Yeah, there's a new video up. New project. Don't expect it to be as many videos in such a short time. It's just that I've had this week off to get this finished. But catch up before you start the new one, and then you won't be disappointed. We've got quite a puddle of hot water here. We can see that. Hey, John. Hey, TGM. This boiler will run for, it'll give me about, Chirpy, it'll give me about probably 20 minutes. Probably give me a lot longer as the engine runs in. The valve face and everything gets a bit smoother. You've got a better seal. But can you hear that boil? That's hot. It's well past the dribbling stage. Oh, well, I didn't said that. It's, if the boiler's not quite as full, then we don't get this dribble. That's running pretty wet there. Give it a little bit longer now it's warmed up. This boiler will run out of water before the burner runs out usually. So it runs pretty nice. Not very difficult at all, I imagine. Probably a bush in the side of the boiler here in the right spot. And a pipe with a banjo. And probably, I don't think this engine would run a pump to fill the boiler, but certainly a hand pump or even a plunger pump is probably not a big deal to do. You can put a little plunger pump on the back, except you're going to burn your fingers getting anywhere near it. It's now fast good. You've just got to walk the talk. no one had a mouthful of anything that was irreplaceable then. I'm going to try and see if I can get that safety valve to blow off. That's a pretty good little valve. The one that was in it was a very, very basic thing with a screw and a I think it's here somewhere. This is the one that was actually in the book. It's just a countersunk screw and a spring and a lock nut on the bottom. Oh, I'm sure Keith can walk the talk. Yeah. This safety valve makes me nervous, this one. There's nowhere for the steam to go, and when steam starts to leave, it expands. So when a little bit of steam flops out, you've got to have enough space there for a whole lot of steam to disappear if it needs to. But this one with the ball is excellent because once it cracks open, it's got the full passage right through the valve, whereas this is just basically you've got the gap of the thread, which is really a bit awful. I'm not sure I'd trust this, but I certainly trust this one. I think we've got more leaks. Hey Dave, that's pretty cool. I actually haven't given this a run since about probably Tuesday, something like that, Wednesday. So it's got a little bit of a knock there, and you can hear that. If you listen, you can hear a knock, and this engine won't run really without it. I've gone through and freed everything up and run a reamer through all these holes again and got everything nice and smooth and complete, so it will run. If this is tight, because it's a brass frame which is bolted straight on the boiler, what happens is that it expands and the crankshaft seizes up if we haven't got that knock in there. So that's the way it needs to be. It's pretty cool that this exhausts through the chimney. The narrow passage kind of turns it into a steam bomb, I think, if you built the engine with enough precision that it wasn't leaking here and here and here and here. And as this runs in, you're going to find that this safety valve comes into play a lot more often because everything gets smoother and a better fit. But if you took the canopy off, Adam, probably you would find that it would pull the weight of the trailer. That's where I'm at with that. If you left the canopy on, not so much. I've had it running around the coffee table a couple of times. The first time I had to settle down and put bottle caps under the coffee table legs and get the spirit level out and get it somewhere near level before it had run around in a full circle. Second time, it was handling it pretty well and running a bit quicker on the downhill side. And it's only 10 mil out of level. Third time it was doing a lot better. He's a weird boy, Stefan. You know, they've got to make allowances for that. So we're about out of water there now. The burner's still going fine. We can blow that out. Zero energy in there once the boiler's out, the burner's out. So we're all ready to wipe down and polish and put back in on the shelf for another 12 months. Rubber bands would be a good idea. Most of our slip is here on this top pulley. I'm not sure how easy that is to overcome, because if you give this enough friction that it doesn't slip, then this axle or the wheel binds on the axle, and that it creates the same effect afterwards. So I'm not sure it's really a toy that is capable of pulling more than itself. I had visions of building a little trailer for this with these wheels on the front and probably another front end. And I did make a lot of the bits to actually do a front end and a back end and think about it. But hey, Roger. This little boiler, it isn't going to ever melt down with this flame. A coal boiler, yeah, absolutely, or even a gas boiler. Probably it's a really stupid idea. But this little flame in here, which is denatured alcohol or white spirit or methylated spirits, whichever part of the world you're from, it's not going to get anything hot enough to melt the silver solder that holds it all together. That's just an impossibility. It's 2 inches away from the boiler. It's just not going to happen. So you're much better off for the life of the boiler to empty this completely and make sure it's dry, so you don't get fuzz and corrosion and electrolysis happening inside there while it's packed away on the shelf. That's a much better chance of the boiler lasting a long time if it's dry and ready to put away than if you put it away wet, because you're worried that this little 2-inch by 1/4 inch gas flame 2 inches away from the boiler or spirit flame is going to melt the boiler, and it's not. So I hope that explains some of it. Probably. I really doubt it gets hot enough. Not sure it's got as much energy in there as the kitchen kettle, you know. I'm not sure that it's with this engine that I'd like to put it away wet, and it's run out of water. We've blown the boiler out. It's not going to be an issue, I don't think. I will send you an email about burners and things chirpy. I've had some thoughts about that. You could do a million things with this little engine. Myford Boy built a very similar one, and I'm sure you've all seen that incredible series, that little engine that he built. It's about 4 times more complicated than this. It's got a little piston valve engine. It's really very nice thing with a gas burner, and it's a lot of work, and it's a crazy big job. Markey make one with commercially with a little slide valve. The Willesco's got a slide valve or a piston valve on it too. All those things you could make or convert or modify or such, but really this engine here, it's safe and it's fun, and that's all it's all about. Good night. Oh, sorry, Machine NZ. I guess it is a couple of hours later. Bicycle inner tube is probably a smart thing too, if you could cut nice pieces off a tube. There's 1,000 things you could do to modify it, but reality is it's pretty good fun as it is. And for me, if I've got it running that nice, it's time to start another one. It's a big cable we're sorting out and shrinking tube on, Steph, and that's crazy. It probably would run a little generator without too many problems. I've taken the belt off the other side just to run it on the bench. But you could run a generator on here. Next engine's the petrol. We're working on that. It's a crazy big project. We're working on it. Yeah, don't expect too many miracles before Christmas, but we'll have a few videos up before then. But yeah, Craig, it's good fun as it is. It's a good fun little engine. Those 2 screws have come loose again. Might have to put lock nuts on them. They're all little teething problems. And every time you run it, it runs that little bit better. So give it another couple of runs. I might give it another go on the coffee table or on the ground outside and see how it behaves under power. Here's the other huge thing I've done this week. I nearly wasn't going to say anything. Good night, John. I don't think it'd run a push bike controller. I think it would probably run a little DC motor back to front. New sticker board, Chirpy, yeah. I'm scrolling down the phone to try and see if we can get the rest of it taken in. We're just going to pan up a little bit. New sticker board. I think I've got most of my stickers on there now. The shiny silver bad is for an upcoming video. There we go. Oh, thanks, Tanker. That's awesome. You really don't have to do that. I've got no space for more stuff, but thank you. The actual reality is that I'm probably in the position to go and buy myself a D-bit grinder, and I haven't gone and done it because I really don't have a place to put it, which is embarrassing. Science, yeah. Sand cords. Sand cores. This is the first core box I finished. Or yeah, first core box I've finished for the 400 engine. Bit of talcum powder on there. Whoever gave me that tip last time, thanks heaps. This is a tapered pin, and this is all the right shape for the core for the water jacket on this 400 engine. It probably will involve SodaStream. That seems to be the cheapest and easiest way to do this. Yeah, CO2 is probably the best thing. I just pack the sand in there with the sodium silicate solution, harden them up with CO2. This is just proof of concept because my foundryman in America is going to cast this, and his cores will be 100 times better than mine. But if I can get them so that they don't sort of collapse when I take them out, I'm going to be pretty happy and a bit more confident sending them to him. Toast oven's a bit hard on my core box though, Chirpy. This is the core for this part here, which is the water jacket inside here. If that's any help. This needs a top coat on it and a rub back and a little bit more work. And hopefully this week that might still happen. We'll see how we go. I've got the rest of the week, and then next week I'm not sure I'm going to get much done at all. So, hi Dan. So I've got what's today's Wednesday? I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off at this stage. I'm not sure whether I'm going to get to the Foundry or not. I'd like that to be a possibility, but if it's going to rain, that's not much fun, and I might not do that. I would like to get the engraver working tomorrow, and there's another project that I need to do some on as well, so we'll see how I'm feeling by Friday. Hey, Scott. Go and check out Scott Tyndall's channel if you haven't seen it. Good fun too. My gosh, people have watched that video. Take care, Stefan. So we probably should nearly wrap this up too. Yeah, it's 33 degrees on Friday, so it might be a good Foundry day. We'll see. We will see. Certainly won't be casting this, but there are projects that need to be done. Thanks, Stefan. Hi, Duncan. Has someone seen that series on building the little marine engine out of this Kenneth Wells book? Someone might be able to put a link up. At this point, I hope so, Chirpy. It's a very difficult thing, and you have my admiration that you can do actual Foundry videos and get actual footage that isn't totally embarrassing and completely useless. That's an amazing thing, because I'm not very good at that. See you, Cam. Thanks again. Hi, David. I really hope that we're going to get some casting footage, and certainly I think we will on this project, but that's not going to hit YouTube for another 6 months probably. Might not be that long, but we kind of want to get it well and truly on the way first. Very cool, Scott. Anyway, that's what's happening here. That's not all that exciting. The mill's got about 5 kilograms of brass swarf all over it. And I had hoped to set up the VFD and the 3-phase motor on the mill this week, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I think I'll get the engraver done, and we might get to the Foundry or a weekend away. The trouble is that I go to the Foundry, Chirpy, I see there's the general public, and then there's probably 4 or 5 other members of the club, or 6 or 8, and getting everyone okay to actually publish video is a bit difficult too. Don't keep watching it like that, Scott. It's just going to drive you crazy. Watch Pot Never Boils. Don't keep watching your subscription list like that. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching. It's really awesome to log on and see a long and involved, complicated conversation about PlayStation and CNC and people's channels and projects and things before I even start. That's amazing. I've got a GoPro, Curly, so probably that's going to happen, to be honest. It's a pretty good option. We'll see you, Tinker. See you, everyone. Take care, and I'm out.